I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be recording with you. Let me just come out and say first and foremost that episode 20, our most listened to and viewed episode thus far. So if we could just clap it up.
Let's go. Clap it up. I love to hear that.
I'll clap it up for you. You can clap it up for me.
The interaction was great. And the clips that you've already put out are awesome too. I mean,
I'm glad you're digging them.
Vicky's chirping. I know Wade was hitting me up on some DMs about other things.
Yeah. It's so cool, man. It feels really good, you know, because it's something outside of our job that people are super interested in. So I just wanted to take a second for that. And then the thing on my mind this weekend is I think me being ghetto has backfired big time.
All right. Explain what you mean by why are you being ghetto right now?
All right. When I say ghetto, I don't mean like John Morant, okay? I'm not talking I mean ghetto as in like frugal.
So you're thinking like the days back when you had to scrape money together for things you wanted.
Right, or you would walk through the drive-thru at McDonald's. Me and Jeffro used to do that all the time and just, yo, can I get a Big Mac? What's going on?
How many axles is that thing?
So I think it may have backfired on me, and
yikes.
I've been a little irresponsible with my money lately. I mean, I'm just going to put that out there.
Okay.
You know, it happens.
You know, admitting it is halfway to solving the problem or something like that.
You know, part of it was some of the stuff we talked about with the vehicle, and then I just booked the trip to Maine, so that's official. I'm coming up. It's happening July 17th to the 20th.
Coming home. Bro, I'm going to play
Tell
that.
the world.
When you get to the airport, I'm just going to have a boombox. What are you doing? You can't. Don't worry about it. He's almost here.
He's almost home. Dude, that would be the best ever. And sidebar, whenever I do move home and host an event, I've always, since I've left, thought of this hype package with that exact song in it. So that would just be perfect.
Nice.
But I think it's starting to backfire, bro, because I'm getting the bubble guts big time. And,
not a spring chicken anymore, bro. Your body can't handle what it used to be able to handle in the 20s.
No, and there's two types of runs. There's the short runs, the long runs, and then the dreaded drizzle and shits, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm stretching my last few $100 to make it to payday, which is like over the last year and a half, a rare thing for me. But I was used to that my whole 20s into my 30s.
Isn't that weird how when you get used to something, you know, it becomes like it's a habit, or you never get scared of it. And I think it's harder to break the cycle of living in abundance than it is to stick with, like I'm just used to having no money in there, so why would I change any of my spending habits? Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've been surviving my whole life on nothing, you know? So this is familiar territory. But here's the thing. I've been pretty irresponsible with the money because I'm having so much fun doing these toy hunts, and then I had the big car expense, and then I booked the trip to come up to Maine. So it's like I probably should have slowed my roll. But I'm loving making this kind of content, and it's doing well, and it's fun, and I love to edit and like put it all together. But dude, I'm at the point where I'm leaving work on Friday, and I reach out to promotions and I say, do we have any like, I don't know, coupons or gift cards?
Gotta have coops.
Basically, do you have any free food for me is what I was asking, you know? No shame in my game, you know? Yeah. And she goes, yeah, you know, I think I got some stuff. And they come back with two $30 Wendy's gift cards.
Dude, that's $60.
$60, and like you can stretch that. So I have been, dude, since Friday. And I'm going the healthiest route there that I can. I'm just doing the grilled chicken wrap. Grilled chicken, lettuce. That's it.
Got it.
Right? That way I don't have to spend my own money on food because I really can't afford to. But man, I think you know, lunch earlier put me over the top, dude, because I've been in the bathroom for just quite a while, bro. It's rumbling down there.
That's like that's a lot of Wendy's. It's just a lot of one place that's not your own kitchen, and I think You remember that documentary by Morgan Spurlock, Super Size Me?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's good you haven't reached to that level of dedication to an establishment, right? I mean, this was out of pure necessity, so I guess it's a lesson to all. Like, even when you pick a healthy option at a fast food joint, it's just the best of the worst.
Yeah, no, it is. It's.
And I thought you were going to go Domino's. I thought you were going to be like, Dave, I just been eating pizza. Dude. And I'm like, how are you surviving on so much pizza?
No, dude, because, if I eat one slice, I gain like 40 pounds.
You're just like, what's up? You're like, oh, damn.
It's like right away. Right away. Like the next morning, I wake up and I walk into the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I got to turn off the light. I'm like, whoa, I could just hold on.
I'll put you on the treadmill, just feed it to you as you're going. All right, you got to wait another quarter mile and I can have another bite.
Yeah. But, it's either that or sometimes, with my back, I'm so self-conscious about my weight that I'll like make myself only do one meal a day. And then I'm like, I'm real tired and I'm kind of weak.
It can
and
backfire
I'm like
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because then your body is like, oh, we have to survive. So it's funny because it's like, it doesn't actually cut out the fat. It goes for the energy that you've stored. And you're like, what? Like this isn't even a real fast.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, man, I woke up this morning and I made a decision. And that decision was I could either... Because I've told you on here before about this new path I found around my complex. And I go on this nice, just scenic walk.
Yeah.
And, it's super nice and it's long and it's, a few miles. Or I could go to the Mile High Flea Market for the first time. I still hadn't gone.
How big is this place?
Let me just tell you, I must have walked like 3-4 miles while I was there.
Legit. Do you have an Apple Watch?
I don't know.
That's always my hack to know how far I've gone.
Sometimes I'll open up the Nike running app or the walking app, as I call it, because I can't run, unfortunately. I mean, I can, but not very long.
I was thinking of The Walking Dead, but I was like, The Walking Jeff.
The Walking Runs is what I have right now, man. But yeah, sometimes I'll open up that app, but then I'll start moving so slow that it's like, pausing workout.
Are you done? Are you sure you're finished with your...
And I'm like, no, I'm moving. It's like, okay, resuming, we're pausing workout. I'm like, oh, gosh, guys.
Dude, it's like the technology, it's come so far, but can't calculate that speed you're giving it. It's too fast.
Right, dude. But, yeah, so dude, it's pretty massive there. Like, pretty damn massive. It's kind of like a flea market mixed with like a I don't know, like a ghetto carnival,
it's like
I think is the best way to put it.
I don't know if you've ever been to like the swap meets out in like Crenshaw or like Inglewood or Southern California has a ton of them. They're great.
Right. So, yeah, and I get in there and it's only like $3 to get in. No big deal. Parking was real easy, which is always the worry for me at my age. If there's not good parking, I'm not leaving the house. If it's even remotely a hassle, I'm staying on the couch. Yeah. But this was easy, so.
All right, you'll be back.
I get there, and I'm like, okay, it's all spread out over these, like, small blocks, and they're all named streets and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm just going to take the snake approach. I'm going to go to the furthest most left, and I'm going to go all the way down, and then I'm going to come all the way back up, and then the next street. So I did every single one. It must have been like 10, 15 rows.
Nice.
Of just, and they were real long.
Grocery store. I'm like, I know I only need a few things, but let me just walk all of them. You never know.
Yeah. And, I don't know. It was cool. I didn't really find anything that like jumped out at me. There was some pretty cool stuff though. They had like, I don't know, self-defense stuff like tasers and knives, and some guy was selling like katanas and swords.
Tasers.
Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, I don't think I'll necessarily go back. But, it was cool just to be able to go and just kind of scope it out and see what it was all about. And then traffic was so heavy on the way back that I was like, okay, it's going to be 40 minutes home or it's 15 minutes to out the box. and they were doing this pop swap, which I think is kind of what you were describing, the swap meet, where people can like show up with their individual stuff and trade and sell and, you know, whatever. And I went there and I scored some dope loose figures, one tag team is going for like $80 sold on eBay. I got them for $8 a piece, which I was super jacked about. And yeah, all in all, pretty decent day. Just super rainy, dude. Super, super rainy here, man.
Opposite here. It was 77 and sunny. And I was actually talking to our buddy Shane. Shout out to Dr. Shane. We hadn't caught up in a while. And he's like, yeah, you know, how's JR doing? And so I told him, like, you know, what you're up to with, you know, the back, and like just kind of took him through it. And I said, yeah, we're both collecting, though, a ton now. And that's been like the common theme. You, me, our boy Joey Bootleg. You know,
Joey Bootleg.
He's always in the mix.
Yeah.
And so today, you know, I did my Sunday routine. It was like a perfect routine. Woke up early, went down to Arundel, to the flea market. I scored 8 vintage shirts for $50. So this whole weekend, I've been scoring. I'm like, is this ever going to stop? Like Friday, cleaned up at Savers down in Massachusetts. I got, I think, 16 pieces for $7 a piece. I got some jerseys, Cooperstown collection stuff. So Savers in Mass and New Hampshire is where it's at. Saturday, ultimate yard sale up at the Cumberland Fairgrounds here in Maine. I got a Jordan jersey for $10. I got 2 New York Rangers jackets for $20 and $15. I mean, I had deals. Then this one guy, he had a bag, like one of those old Marlboro, like red duffels. He's like, yo, I got the good stuff in here. I'm like, all right, I'll see what you got.
Is that like one of the bags you'd have to smoke all the butts for and like submit the points in the mail?
Yeah, a mail away for sure. It's a cool bag, but yeah, that's exactly what it was. And he had these really dope Chicago Bulls t-shirts from, I think, the year they won 72 games. And the shirt said 70 something. And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. But he wanted like $70 a pop.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, well, what about for these 2? And so he offered them to me for $100. But then he's like, yeah, I have these other shirts that are grailed. And I was like, and he has some cool wrestling ones. But I was like, man, you're at a yard sale. If you want to do retail, put it on eBay. Like, you know, have at it. Yeah. I'm not hating, but this is I'm haggling. I'm gonna haggle. And then I bought out this guy's whole collection of starting lineup basketball toys. I was like, hey, this guy was in the way, and I was just looking at him. I was like, hey, are you looking at this basketball? He goes, no. I was like, cool. Hey, just give me all the basketball. $40. Today, Arundel flea market, 8 vintage shirts, would have been $80. Got 3 signed by Ricky Craven NASCAR tees.
What?
Yeah, I was like, dude, Ricky Craven, big time driver in he's from Maine, still lives in Maine. And then I got Florida Marlins starter t-shirt, and then Brewster got a bunch. This is like the whole weekend I've just been getting so many deals. You can see behind me today, I got this Penny Hardaway.
Dude, with the pinstripe, it looks so sick.
I was at Burlington after I went to the gym. And so just to rewind, after the flea market, I always go to the beach, and I did like my beach workout, hung out, got a little tan. Came back, did the gym, and then I was like, you know what, Burlington, I haven't been in a minute. They always have like 1 or 2 jerseys randomly, and this one in particular, I was like, this is so clean. It's $34. Yeah, I'm getting that. I want you to guess. It was $34 in Burlington. How much do you think this went for on eBay?
So before my guess, I have to ask, this is like authentic for sure.
Authentic, Mitchell & Ness.
What year is it?
It's a new retro, but it's Mitchell & Ness. So it says like Penny Hardaway 93, 94. I think it's like a hardwood classic, or I don't know what they call it. MLB calls the Diamond Collection the Cooperstown Collection. So this is like the basketball equivalent of that.
Right. I don't know. I think without thinking about it too much, I'd say about $120.
Okay, so it's over $325.
What?
A couple of times in the past 5 days.
Really?
I'm like, how did I just come up on a $35 buy? Like, I'm about to make $300 on that jersey. The tags are still on it, never worn. It's in perfect condition.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was like the coup de grace of all of the purchases, but these racks are full. I got to get new racks. I had to go buy like 150 hangers. It's good. It's really good. Me and my dad just keep saying, like, why are people giving this stuff away? I'm making the sales on eBay. So it's not like, oh, it says it sold and good for them. They sold it, but we haven't. Like, I've been selling. Anyway, I'm not messing with it. The vintage gods are being good to me, so.
Dude, we might have to change your name from Davy Bundles to Davy Racks.
Davy Racks. Racks on racks on racks. So
yeah,
it's encouraging.
That's so cool, man.
Because we don't even have the shop yet. And
right,
it's June 11th, so we got a lot of time.
Yeah, think about this, right? Even whatever that jersey goes for on eBay, think about it. If you were to go into a shop and you were like a big-time Magic fan, especially back in that time, you're probably willing to pay just a little bit more than what it's going for because it's right there in front of you and you can actually touch it.
Lighting's hitting it.
You got to take that into account.
The display's there. I can put like the other penny and the shacks around it, but you like uplight it and it's like Wayne and Garth seeing the guitar. She will be mine. Oh yes, she will be mine.
It's so good.
He starts playing. He's like, "Hey man, no stairway."
So two things here real quick. Yeah, you telling me about, like, it seemed like you went out on the hunt twice this weekend. I did as well.
Yeah, 3 times.
And 3 times. Okay, so I went out twice. On Saturday, I actually drove like an hour and 20 minutes to Colorado Springs.
Okay, that's a poke. That's like that's an investment.
It was a haul. I tossed on like a Bruce Pritchard podcast and I'm just cruising.
When you're tossing on a podcast, you're going somewhere.
You're going on a trip, bro. Yeah, you're not just listening to the radio. So I'm on the way up there, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't been. I met this shop. They had a booth at Retromania here recently. So I was like, I'll go and see what it's all about. I wrote them on Facebook ahead of time and was like, hey, like, these are the things that I'm into. What do you have? Oh, we have a bunch. You'll love it. Okay, cool. Everything was good until about a half hour into the drive. It just starts downpouring, like torrential downpour. If you remember when we started driving to Nashville from Maine and I got caught in that, it was like that.
Bro,
right off
that was the funniest thing because I was like, all right, this is the big test. This was your first road trip, I'm pretty sure, ever, of you driving.
Oh, 100%.
And I'll give you credit.
It like 40 minutes.
You made it to the Massachusetts border. So
let's go.
Technically, you got through 2 states.
Put some respect on my name, bro.
But yeah, after that, I was like, yeah, that's a lot for an experienced driver to deal with. So I'm going to take over.
So, and then it got worse because there's this strange vortex happening in the air, and I've been watching like the Denver news channel and weather people, and there's something wrong. They're saying there's something wrong in the sky, and it has to do with the mountains.
It's heavy, Doc.
It is heavy, and it's making it so we can't break this cycle of rain. So what ends up happening is the storm starts coming down so bad that, again, it starts hailing. And we're talking like the size of quarters. And it's coming down and smacking my car and the windshield. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is going to break my windshield, right?
Damn.
So I finally, like saving grace, I see a bridge. And there's a ton of people pulled off to the side, parked under the bridge to kind of wait out the storm. So that's what I decide to do. Except the ass of my car is still hanging out the back a little bit. So I'm inching closer and closer and closer to this truck so I can stop getting hit with the hail. And then some like poor schmuck pulls up behind me like he's under the bridge at all. And he's just pretty much pulled over getting hammered. I was like, you might as well have kept moving. So eventually it does calm down. I make it there. And then when I make it there, it's like the clouds opened up and the sun poked through and everything was fine in the world, And I go into the shop, and it's called KD Toys and Customs.
So close to KB Toys, by the way. That's all I could think about when I was watching it. I'm like, is that? No.
Which I thought was pretty cool. And, up in down in the Springs, which let me just say this first off. I tell my boss at work, hey, tomorrow I'm going up to the Springs. He goes, you mean down, JR? I go, well, sure, but that's just how we say it in Maine. He's like, well, that's wrong.
You're like, I'm going up to the Shaws.
Yeah, I'm going up to Dave's house for the week. You know what? That's just how we do it. And then I leave his office. I'm like, I don't know why I came in and talked to this guy about this anyway. But anyhow, back to my story. I walk in, and over the ceilings, it's all of your old 90s kids' bed sheets. We're talking like the X-Men, the Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, WWE, just all covering the ceiling, which I thought was kind of a cool touch.
And hopefully all of them clean. None of them have pee stains or anything.
I don't know, bro. Yeah, who knows? Sometimes you don't want to wash that stuff. It, washes the 90s right off it. But I go in, and there was a lot of cool stuff, man. I ended up being, borderline responsible. I only left with 3 elites. I made sure they were all well, priced. I stayed away from overpriced stuff. And I left with a Legend Series, Rowdy Roddy Piper. Finally got a Piper for my collection, nice. First one. I scored an Attitude Era Edge and a Rob Van Dam, which I was pretty pumped about with his tiger print tights, and made the drive back, got caught in another storm on the way back. So at that point, you're you can't even hear the podcast that you're listening to that's supposed to, make time fly by, because you're just getting hammered with rain and hail, and you can see the lightning, and it's just
Denver.
Once I finally got home, I was like, I'm not leaving the house until I have to go to work. But of course today I was like, I should go to the flea market, and just walk around for 2 hours. But yeah, man, I don't know. I get real excited talking to you about this stuff. And we've mentioned it before. This isn't like a collector's podcast. There's no corner to paint us into, but yeah, this is just what we're super after right now.
And it's a different perspective, because you're collecting to kind of build a set, and your set is kind of it's fluid. It's building on its own. It's it's getting bigger, but you're not just getting everything and anything. There's specifics to it. And I'm just well, is somebody going to buy this thing if I buy this?
Right.
And I'm yes or no. And I'm doing I'm just doing deals to resell. But I was sitting at the beach, and I'm I need to get a picture, just something to throw on Instagram, because I'm if I'm wearing retro stuff, I need to document it. It'll help the store. It's just going to help my brand. It's going to help overall. Right. And I'm looking at the picture I edited. I go, this is pretty good. On the iPhone, new iPhone.
No, it was cool.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm huh. It's symmetrical. You can see the horizon line with the water. It's very pleasing. Visually, it's pleasing. Yeah. And I said, what if I just did that with a bunch of jerseys? And I did a whole, I could do a book. I could do a coffee table book, a series, and then somebody commented oh, it's definitely throwback summer. I'm I'm that's it. I'll do a throwback summer jersey series. It works with the brand, probably help me sell some of them, and maybe I'll even sell some books. I don't know. But I just was cool, marketing idea, just like that.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm on board. That sounds, it's a throwback kind of summer. I like that.
For me, it's a throwback kind of every day. But to some people, that's a good way to just pitch it. Right.
No, I get it, man. Yeah.
It's all clothing, though. I've been just clothing. Honestly, I haven't bought a lot of cards because everybody wants retail. Yeah. And I try to get a deal, but I'm look, man, you're set up at the flea market. You want retail. I wish I could sell the cards for what you're selling them to me on eBay, but I can't even get that on eBay. So what am I going to do with this card?
Except lose on it.
Yeah, I'm just cool, you got some money, and I'm just sitting here looking at my piece of cardboard.
And your approach to kind of, pick it and flip it, is growing on me a little bit as well. But again, my collection is kind of for me to admire. But it's always kind of in the back of my mind, like even today when I stopped by that Pop Swap, and I guess they had just gotten in a bunch of elites and basics and ultimate editions. Like some kid came in and just sold them all off loose. So I got to go through them all before they even hit the floor.
Which is good. Cool. That's when you get the best deals and you get the newest ones. The principle of it, I cannot pay over what I know something's worth, even if I'm going to keep it.
No, because then you're in the red. What's the point?
I'm like, I have to get a deal on this, or I'm not. I'll just pass. I'm good with passing. I have to make a buck on this.
Yeah, and my approach with those were like, hey, some of these are going to look really cool on the shelf, but a few of them I could probably flip them. If you could consider what I paid for them. I got the basic Legion of Doom in their blue spikes. It's so badass, dude. It's definitely going to go on the shelf, and I'm going to get some pictures and all that. Kind of like you with the jerseys and the shirts.
You got to document it. And you know what I think it'll help you? And you'll start to sell them. I'm telling you, this is what'll happen. You'll be like, you know what? I documented them. I lived with them. They were great. But now that I've documented having them, I don't need to keep them.
Right. And it was part of like a toy hunt video. We talked about it on the show as well.
Used it for what it was needed. I mean, me with the jerseys, there are a few I will never give up because I just love them.
Yeah.
But all the other ones are just like, oh, well, I got another Jordan, so I'm just going to sell those. Like, I got the Jordan I like.
Right. Yeah, dude, the Legion of Doom loose sold recently on eBay, I think a few days ago for like $80. I got them for $8 a piece. The other item that I came across that I was super pumped about was an Ultimate Edition Kane. Dude. And it's, you remember Kane in the red and the black.
The classic,
this one was reversed. So it was the black and the red. And it was a figure that you could only get if you bought the Mattel Creations Attitude Era ring, which was like a $400 purchase.
Damn, can you wrestle in that ring?
Dude, it's
for $400
like...
bucks?
If you were that size, you absolutely could. It is remarkable how incredible it is.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, just so I could wrestle against action figures.
Yeah, and like a real wrestling ring, dude. And yeah, they're all in good shape. I brought them home and tossed them in the sink with some Dawn dish soap, gave them the old, wash around. And yeah, some of them, I'll probably move. I already have an Ultimate Kane, and I don't really want to have a ton, like... multiples, like not this exact one, but I have a Kane. Like I'm not trying to complete the whole set. I just want who I think is cool. And then the LOD I might flip. I got a Mankind, which I thought of you.
Yes.
Because I know he's on your Mount Rushmore.
He's the man.
And it's in the brown with the mask and the actual mandible claw, like before Socko and all that, Yeah. And then I think I was pretty excited about all of them, but the other one that I was super pumped about, it was the defining moments Hulk Hogan, and which valuable figure, and it's really, really cool. And it was missing the belt and the chain, but it had the bandana and the tearaway shirt with the rips in the back, and it just.
But that because that's a sick one. I saw, I remember seeing that when you showed me the video. If you're missing the chain, you can just do what Hulk did and make one out of paper clips.
Paper clips, bro, like we weren't gonna know.
That's been going around the internet, and I'm sitting here like, I bet I was watching that, and I totally missed that.
Yeah. You know what I wanted to ask you about is, and I guess we're going full collector mode today, but what I wanted to ask you about was, like, you have to come across some like bootleg stuff while you're out there, right? And you can can you like clearly tell sometimes?
Yeah, you can. It's mostly with like the stuff that'll say Boston, and the font looks really close, but it's too skinny or it's too fat. And I'm like, yeah, you got the colors pretty much there. Or Red Sox, it'll have like, and I had to tell my dad because he was like, it's good. I'm like, look, it's a clean jersey, it's nice, but it's got the American League patch on the left. But look at the Red Sox. He's like, yeah, now that I look at it, I'm like, yeah, the red and Sox, like, it's just not official. Yeah. So there's a ton. And speaking of bootlegs, and I guess, yeah, I'm going to go on the record. These are bootlegs to me.
Yeah.
So the store in the mall, there's no more Olympia Sports. I don't know if you know that. It's gone.
Blasphemy.
It's just gone. Now it's like a sports team jersey store. Call it whatever you want. I can't even remember. Been in there 4 times. Don't remember.
Yeah.
So I go in, I look, and I'm like looking at the jerseys. You know, I got to touch them. I got to look at the threading. I'm like, oh, these are like good. But then I'm like, but they're not Mitchell and Ness. They're not Majestic. They're not Starter. They're not Champion. I'm like, they're none of the labels I know. It's some other label that's like a new label. So I go look it up, and the contact info for the label for these jerseys is at Gmail.
What?
I'm like, all right, this is what kind of Mickey Mouse organization put these jerseys together?
This has got to be some guy who's, dude, because I've bought in a bunch of bootleg, like,
he went to
Cowboys
Alibaba,
in the past.
whoever,
exactly. That's where they're all from.
And because I go on there because I'm looking like, how can I get these cheaper? But I'm sitting there, and then you go to Lids down the way, and they have the Mitchell and Ness, they have the Diamond Collection, they have the Cooperstown.
The real deal.
Like, why? You fill the whole store with these. You're gambling on a huge margin. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can make so much profit. I guarantee that store will not last more than like a year or 2.
No way, dude. No way. Because, again, I've bought in like multiple Cowboys jerseys, and they're great. They definitely do the trick. They're like $50 shipped rather than like $300-400, you know?
But
it's like you can't just buy a ton of that on the internet and then bring it into the Maine Mall where you think you're just gonna scam people.
Dude, it's such a finesse. I'm like, actually, I wish I thought of that. Or
Mitchell Finesse over here.
Mitchell Finesse, yo, I need it. I'm gonna make that an account, an IG account, Mitchell Finesse, and
Let's go.
We can put all the bootlegs we see in the wild
Oh
on
my
there.
God.
That's a
That'd be
great
so
idea,
good.
bro. I'm
Mitchell
doing that.
Finesse.
I want to see if it's on here. I can get it. And so I would see, like, if I were to do that, at least make the knockoffs like really good. Now they're good, but look, if I'm going in there to spend some money, and they're $80-90, they're not like dirt cheap. If I'm going to spend some money, I want a nice jersey.
Yeah,
I want it to be accurate.
Those shouldn't be any more than $50, $40-50.
Bro. You can tell the Alibaba joints are like because now the jerseys have all the like sponsors and the different patches, and you're like, it's too close together. You can just tell right away.
Yeah, even with ones that are like real good, you can still kind of say, oh, this is where they kind of gypped out.
Yeah, like for your team, you're like, I want a Jason Tatum Celtics jersey. That's not Jason Tatum.
Do you remember? Gosh, I think we may have been in high school or maybe just out of it, but there used to be a shop like that in Westbrook next to the barber shop that I used to go to.
This is all adding up.
Okay.
Next to the barber shop in Westbrook, of course, this place was there.
But it was like a legit, this is where everybody in town went and got their cuts, right?
Yeah.
This barber shop, matter of fact, now that I'm talking about it, summer of 8th grade going into freshman year. That was the summer I finally cut off the bowl cut.
The transition. Yeah, that was the transition for me too. I was like, you know what? I'm doing the ski jump, the flip, the spike, whatever. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, the little swoop. They called it the sports cut. And I was like, whatever. I want to fit in. I can't have I'm like,
who's that
I can't have the bowl cut no more.
Yeah, I want to look like that kid. I'm going to high school, man.
Yeah, like the 90s were over. It was time for me to
full acceptance.
Yeah, but anyway, I remember like going in there because my stepdad Tim was into all that stuff too. And like that shop had opened up like kind of right next door. And I go in and I'm all excited like, oh, I'm going to find like some Mitchell and Ness jerseys and like throwback 90s Cowboys. And I walk in and there's this like weird navy blue Cowboys jersey.
How navy was the blue? Was the blue off?
It was absolutely off.
Was it
so
royal?
Immediately, no, it was just like I don't know, man. It was just like an ugly navy blue, and it didn't look like the Cowboys colors. And then the silver was kind of gray. And then I look at they had it displayed from the back so you can see the player, of course. And it was Michael Irvin's number, the big 88, right? I'm like, that's my guy.
I need it.
And then your eyes scan up a little bit, and it's like, Michael Irvin doesn't have a G at the end of his name. What kind
Irving.
of rinky-dink Mickey Mouse organization is this?
Michael Irving. You're like, yeah, I remember him. I said Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
Dude.
But I was like, Tim, what the hell? He's like, nah, let's go. These are fake.
Tim
and
knows.
I guess,
Tim has a good BS detector about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you know how crazy would it be if it was that same fucking dude from Westbrook that opened up brick and mortar of Mitchell Finesse in the mall?
Dude, you got Mitchell finessed, bro. Okay, update on the account because I wanted to look it up real time. So Mitchell Finesse was out. Mitchell Finessed with a D is in. We're
in business. Let's go.
Mitchell Finessed. And I could be like, you got Mitchell Finessed. Dude, this is about to be a cultural phenomenon. We're going to out all the bootleggers.
Out them on all of their fake jerseys. Like, bro, who the hell is Michael Irving? Sounds like a race car driver, bro. I was so disappointed.
Do you know, I probably shared it with you a bunch, the account Shitty Rigs?
Is that with all the really bad DJ gear?
No, it's camera stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like it looks bad, but it works. So it's like duct tape and zip ties, but it's like, but look at the shot. You're like, well, they did it.
It's
They have like a
amazing.
full podcast. So they started as an Instagram account. Actually, a friend of mine who I
I'm
worked with
crying over here.
in New York City, her friend's boyfriend started the account. And one night we're like out having some beers and the conversation came up. I was like, yeah, this account. She's like, oh, that's my boyfriend's. I'm like, no way. Your boyfriend is
What?
amazing. I love this account. So I was like 3 people away from it's so cool to me. 3 people
That
away
is
from
dope.
the Shitty Rigs founder. But now they have a podcast and all the mic, you'll love this. The mic stands, I'll have to find a clip to show you, are made out of the the C stands with the lighting. So they
Yep.
got like C stands with the long
Yep.
arm, and they got like tape, and they got so much extra stuff, and then the mic.
Man.
It's
But
so
as long
great.
as it sounds
But
good,
it
right?
sounds great, and you're like, that's so unnecessary. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, they have an account like that I follow for like really bad mobile DJ setups. And like somebody just scours the internet and finds people's really bad setups. I hope I've never been on there.
I think
And then
we're
people
safe.
just light them up in the comment section, dude. It's like just a DJ's worst nightmare, you know. But I mean, hey, y'all, you got to start somewhere. You know, I didn't always have a really great setup.
Dude,
So
we rocked a party with 1,300 people in a backyard at a frat house with a plastic Hercules deck that was no bigger than this. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you got. If you rock the party, like
right.
we could submit that clip and get all the hate. I don't care. That was a great party. That was like
Well,
literally
actually,
the
dude-
turning point that turned you into a DJ.
Right. Well, I think what we had going for us there is we didn't have an actual setup. You couldn't see anything that we were doing up there.
That's true. The fence around the porch was like hiding
Yeah.
it. It was
We're
dimly
talking
lit.
like these folks with just like a table with a skirt that don't fit and their cables are running in and around and the speakers are like tilted and they got these like, and there's so many just ugly, just think of the ugly, just lights that should not be where they are and just,
My worst nightmare.
yeah, dude, one of the things I always picked up from you that I brought into DJing was manage your cables. If you're not going to manage them, at least hide them.
Man, good. I know you do, because I have my only fear, totally irrational fear, is tangled cables. You know who
Bro,
sent
I
me
used to
a
prank you
picture?
so many
I know
times.
you did, bro. So Ashton actually sent me a picture of her. She's like, I knew this would drive you crazy. It was like her internet setup and like all the cables. I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you send me this? I'm like having PTSD right now.
Dave, when I lived out there with him in California for a cup of coffee, sometimes I would wake him up in the morning and I would put all his cables in his bed on top of him, and he would wake up like he was Indiana Jones surrounded by snakes.
Like, I hate snakes.
It was too good, man.
It's the cables, bro. But look,
That's funny.
I'm about to create the password so we'll both have access, but Mitchell Finessed is about to be our side account.
Let's go, dude.
You inspired it. I mean, bro, that was brilliant.
I'll take part credit here.
Dude, who knows? This could be $1 million thing. It could be nothing. I don't know.
You never know.
I'm going to go into the mall now, though, and just take a picture and be like Mitchell finessed.
Yeah, hey, can you hold that up for me?
Yeah, just want to try it
Michael
on.
Irvin doesn't have a G at the end of his name.
I just want to see what it looks like.
Oh, man. Dude, I was so defeated that day. Can I tell you another thing that I forgot I wanted to bring this up?
Yeah.
But when I was at the flea market, I remember being about teenager, right? I think it was like 8th grade or so. And I don't know if this was in your school too, but everybody was wearing these specific like silver chains.
Nah,
I'm trying to remember what kind it was.
High school?
Yeah, like high school.
We had to wear suits
8th grade.
and ties, so.
Okay. Well, everybody had these like flat chains, right? And everything is kind of linked in. And I was like, well, I need to be cool. I got to get one of those, Tim. He's like, okay. I was like, oh, well, I'm sure we can go to the mall or something. He goes, no, we're going to the flea market.
Facts.
So we go to this flea market, and I think it may have been the indoor one in Scarborough. And he's like, boom, there they are. I told you. And these are so much cheaper, right? The reason they were so much cheaper is because they weren't silver. They weren't white gold as everybody said they had, because that was the stunt back then. They were like this.
Absolutely the stunt.
Yeah, there was this random like electroplate, they called it. I don't know, like what kind of metal
I do remember
it was.
that. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, but like in between the links after like a week or two, they would just start to go black, and it just looked so bad. But
It's
dude,
like,
for that week,
I was like, I'm tucking mine in.
But for like a week, bro, I was stunting. I was like, yeah, this is white gold, bro.
Dude, I'm Michael Irving with the white gold. What's up?
Can you imagine that chain with that jersey?
Yeah, that would have been, if only you had that and there's photographic evidence of you just getting Mitchell finessed.
Bro, the only thing that can make that picture better is if you were wearing the knockoff Adidas with the 4 stripes from Payless.
Bro, there's too many stripes. Roll it back.
Dog, my mom used to buy me the Shaq Payless shoes.
Bro, that's but you know what's cool is like now that's OG.
Yeah, it's kind of dope now, but back then it was like I was like, in school, like trying to hide my shoes like so people wouldn't see. But if I had those now, I would totally rock them.
This is what this Gen Z doesn't understand. You would wear the Jinkos if your shoes weren't popping. So you ruin the bottom of the jeans so people don't know what you're wearing.
Oh, yeah. Bro, I used to wear the Jinko. I was really into the Paco jeans with the Echo t-shirts with the rhino on it.
Dude, Echo. Gosh. I had so many Mark Echo shirts.
Why did we that was just it.
Saturday before the club and pick out a new shirt, and South Pole Hazard was the king of South Pole. I only saw him in a South Pole shirt. I can't in my head see him in anything else other than his wrestling gear.
Bro, he had the whole collection. Like, let's just put it out there.
Why did we not do a song about the South Pole?
Hazard put it in a rhyme before, and it was like, I don't know, something about big named mouth gold, something in my South Pole. I can't remember exactly.
All right, he got it in there. I figured he did at some point.
But that was so popular. Echo, South Pole, Sean John, which was like super expensive. I remember I had like one Sean John shirt.
It was just expensive,
black with a simple cursive, writing
that
on it.
That was the look. And then all the kids from like Cape and Falmouth had actual polos.
Yeah,
we were like actual polos. Like I'd have like the big one. Be like, we got polo at home.
Yeah, if you had like, jeez. Could we get McDonald's? No, we have McDonald's at home. But they would have the actual like Ralph Lauren like polos, dude, and it was like, gosh, man.
But
you must be rich.
That was the distinction. If it said Ralph Lauren Polo Club Association, that's how you knew it wasn't like the official was just subtle. It was just the polo man.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, that person's got a little bread. That person went to Burlington.
Yeah. And then they started wearing the ones with a little alligators on them. What was
The
that
Lacoste.
one? Lacoste, yep.
Yeah,
That was that like same tier, next tier?
That's next tier. Lacoste is like tennis. That's like you have a membership at the country club expensive.
Wow. Bro, I remember when I had like my first real job at like Rite Aid or something, like at 18, and I would start to buy all the clothes that I couldn't get when I was in high school, you know, like the Abercrombie polo. I remember having that, thinking I was like so cool, and
Dude.
I would bring it to the beach and I would get them to airbrush the back.
Yo, that's right.
When I popped the collar.
bro. You and our age, you had some airbrush.
Bro.
I remember, I think the Takeover, one of the album arts or covers, you're wearing an Abercrombie shirt.
Yeah, dude, that was the whole thing. It was like, I'm a rapper, but I'm a prep. And this was like long before the like frat rap really became like a thing at all. Like we didn't have any of that stuff. We were just super into hip hop, but
You just included it. You're like, this is how I dress, so I guess that's what I'm wearing. It's my best shirt.
yeah, dude, I wore so much Abercrombie and Fitch just because it's not that I even now, like I'm like, what the hell was I doing? But it was so unobtainable for my family when I was in school.
That was the style.
I was like,
if you were dope, you shopped there.
The moose. You had to have the moose. And boy, did I ever, bro.
Dude, you kept him in business for a while.
Yeah. And then I watched that White Hot documentary about them, and I'm like, what was I doing?
I never looked. I mean, but let's be honest, like none of the shoppers could have ever known.
No.
Craziness, dude. See, all that just tangent from collecting, because like the basis of all this is what was popular, what do people think is still popular that now is no longer being printed or made.
Right.
That's the whole, but that's what I'm looking for. Like, all right, they don't make Majestic shirts. Majestic's gone. They don't make champion NBA jerseys. They could, but I don't think they have the license with the league. So they're valuable.
It's kind of like with certain wrestlers, like they are not contracted with WWE. So like I started collecting recently, but maybe this person's last figure was 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and we're never going to get another one. So it's like, it just drives up the premium, man, like crazy.
Time is the only thing. My buddy Chris was telling me this, that makes things go up in value, like really long term. So if you have the luxury of sitting on something for a while and just holding it, most likely it will go up in value. But there's some stuff you can flip quick. Like I'm flipping that Penny jersey. It sold for $325 5 days ago. Better believe I'm about to get at least $300 for it.
Absolutely. That's so sick.
That's just how it is. Buy low, sell high. That's my best advice I can give anybody getting in the game.
Isn't that's just like
simple? It's not easy.
Simple business. Well said. Yeah. I love that, man.
So
wow.
That's it. I'm just gonna mic drop on that advice.
I love it. No, I think it's very sound advice, man. And I love that. I don't know. I love coming on here and just like
it's exciting
talking about all the different things that you found. Has there been so we've talked about your successes, right? Has there been anything since you've been out and about trying to pick it and flip it that you regret passing on?
Oh, that I regret passing on.
Yeah.
I think
for
I had
whatever reason.
Instant regret of not getting those 2 shirts for $100.
Yeah.
Just because it was Bulls and it's because I haven't seen any of them in the wild. But I stuck to my rubric, which was that's too much money for those shirts, which means I'd have to sell each of them for $100 at least, and I didn't know.
There's no room for profit.
Yeah. I need some meat on the bone, but man, I really wish I bought those.
It's so cool because you're there, and you're like, okay, if I can get this for this, I can sell it. Like there has to be like a substantial profit margin. My approach, like example on Saturday, I found Elite Legend Series. Scott Hall in the NWO Wolfpack, just fire figure. As well, in the next series, Kevin Nash, Wolfpacked out.
Damn.
So sick, tossing up the 2 sweet, all that, right? But the luxury that we have is I can go onto eBay and I can scan like the actual code and see what these have sold for. And I'm like, this guy's asking 30, 40 bucks more than this is actually going for. Like, that's no way.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'm not going to buy it unless I think I'm not going to buy it unless I think I'm getting a good deal.
And also, once you see that it's sold for less, you can just go buy it on eBay.
Right. And then it's like, well, how much is the convenience aspect actually worth? You know, because we talked about that with the penny. It's like, are you willing to pay, a little bit more because it's right there? Not that much more. Absolutely not, you know?
And that's
especially, yeah.
That's the part of eBay, which is great. It's opened up to a world of buyers. So somebody might buy it in a different country. I know for a fact I've sold so many basketball-related items to people in Australia because Australia loves NBA stuff.
Wow.
Jackets, jerseys, shirts. And so something like that probably is never going to pop up on a rack in Australia.
Yeah. Right. I mean, if you think, you're looking for 90s vintage clothes, I'm looking for like 80s and 90s wrestlers. So it's like, I mean, just think about that time frame. You're finding anything Dallas Cowboys. You're finding anything San Francisco 49ers. You're finding, the Supersonics even, or the Bulls, of course, the Magic. It's
Jazz, yep.
Yeah, all that stuff is just, bro, that's the top of the top. If you find a vintage Rodman, I want first bid.
Dude, all right, you got it. I got a Spurs Rodman, number 10.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, that one I like a lot because that was like right before he went to... Is that right before he went to the Bulls? I think it is. I think it's right before he went to the Bulls.
Okay.
So,
dude, that like... Okay, so tell me, because you're like, basketball more than any of our friends. I love the pinstripes that the Magic did. Did the Bulls take that from them? Obviously, it all stems from what? The Yankees, right?
Yeah, I'm going to guess that the Bulls saw the Magic and were like, okay,
we're going to sell some shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like easy. And it's like, hey, if Michael Jordan wears it, we're going to sell it.
Right, because I remember seeing the black with the pinstripes and the big 91 Rodman. And one time I was like, oh, man, I'd love to buy that jersey. And then I flipped around I was like, yeah, I'm just going to leave this for the next guy.
Yeah, we're good. That's the other thing is with champion jerseys, you can sell them high, but you can get them cheap because it's not like the most well-crafted product.
Okay.
Like compared to that jersey I think is better put together, but like Champion was pumping them out. I got to find these things. Where are all these things? People bought
That's
a ton
the
of
question.
them. I need them. And they're not coming up as often as I thought. So my quest, as always, everybody collects something, is to collect as many NBA Champion brand jerseys as I can.
Dude, you have to think that there's some like abandoned, I don't know, maybe not an attic, but like a storage unit that is full of the entire line just sitting there in bags.
Dude, it keeps me up at night. I'm like, where is it? I know these are just sitting somewhere. Nobody's doing anything with them. It drives me crazy.
Maybe they don't even know that they have them.
That would be, if I can get them, that'd be great.
Yeah. Dude, I had this. I want to watch more long form stuff of what you're doing because I find it super interesting. I had a video recommended to me today, and this guy's a big TMNT guy, and this guy, like, he placed this bid on this storage unit, and it was all the original line from 88 to like 91 TMNT, mint on card, unpunched, all the play sets, all the turtles, all the bad guys, everything. And the guy was like, all right, well, what do you want? I think he dropped like 3 stacks on it, dude, and took it all home. And I was like, damn. So somebody just bought this storage locker and just struck gold. And like in your world, there has to be something out there like that. And I could totally picture, even if it's like not like a Hulu show or something like that, like a YouTube series of you and your dad doing exactly that, and how fascinating that would be to watch.
Yeah, we've talked about similar, but I love that angle of us just going, because we go to flea markets like at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And we actually decided we're going to map out. He said on Tuesday, Savers does half off all their inventory. I'm like, what? Half off Tuesday? He's like, yeah, we should just map them out in New Hampshire and Mass, like around Boston, and just go to all of them.
Hit the loop.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, we got money and resources to buy clothes. I was like, all right, sweet. So I have money, resources. We're going to have a shop. Dude, I am ruthless. Get out of my way. Like,
when you have money and resources, watch the fuck out.
Like, I'm here to take souls. Like, I'm going to make sure that this shop has the best stuff, because our thing is we want to curate. We don't want to have it a lot. We want to have the best. But we want to have the best and a lot of the best. So you're going to come in and you're going to find something that you love. And that's the point. We don't want to just have, there's tons of shirts out there. You could go to Savers, but like, we're getting all the best things and centralizing them.
Yeah. I know what shirt I'm going to buy you for Christmas this year.
Okay.
It's the Undertaker shirt.
Bro.
Digging holes and taking souls.
Bro. That's so sick. I was thinking of what I'm going to wear for 4th of July. And I'm like, okay, I need to get some Hulkamania gear. I feel like I have to. I need something American flag, but then I need like that Hulkamania classic t-shirt.
Yeah. You know what's something that I regret losing over the years? My dad had, when he would bring me to the WWF at the time shows when I was a kid, when they would come to the Civic Center, he had like the original Hulk Hogan tearaway tank top. And he took it a step further and he put the slits in the back too.
Dude.
And my parents had like split up a ton of times. That's a story for another podcast. But, and he gave it to me, and I would take it anywhere I went. But somewhere over the line, man, I lost it. And just think, if I still had that Hogan tearaway original,
that's a grail
tank
shirt,
man. And it's yellow, Hulkamania written across it. It's got the slits in the back. And you can just rip it. Oh, man, I wish I still had that.
Dude, I looked through those wrestling magazines, and all I wanted to do is they had the merch pages where you could fill out a form and, like, send away. All I want to do is find all that stuff.
Oh, my God, dude. So much good stuff. You know what I just recently saw on Mercari was one of the original Hogan teddy bears from the magazine.
Really?
Yeah, so it's just small plush bear, and it's wearing the Hulkamania bandana, the Hulkamania shirt, wristbands, and the boots. And they made them for like a bunch of the top guys. But I was like, how cool would that be?
That's a nice piece.
Yeah, and they weren't asking too much. Obviously, this is from like the early 90s, late 80s, so it's a little damaged, but I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Like, Hogan's my guy. So when I come up there, and if we can hit a couple places and I can find some Hulk Hogan stuff, dude, I'm all about it. Because, you know, I always said, people say, well, who's your hero? I always said Hulk Hogan, my dad, and Will Smith. And that's just how I feel, you know? And I don't know how much longer we're going to have him because, you know, sadly another WWE legend just passed away, Iron Sheik.
Dude.
You know, rest in peace. And, you know, like all these people that were just big, larger than life characters on TV. And dude, the day that I pray it's not for a long time, but the day it happens with Hulk, I'm going to be a friggin' wreck. And if I don't get to meet him, my dad did. He met him.
Wow.
My dad met Hulk, bro. Like, because my dad used to manage at a gentleman's club and do all their maintenance, and all the guys would come in and, you know, partake in the environment.
Yeah, you're naturally going to shake some hands.
Yeah, and I remember he showed me a picture of when he met the Big Show.
Dude.
He met Undertaker.
Oh, man.
Bro, and he said Undertaker was so tall, he literally had to duck to get inside the building, which I thought was really cool. And what was
Great
so interesting
story.
about the picture was this was like peak dead man Taker, but in the picture, he's dressed completely like the American badass. Bandana, big black trench coat, like very like incognito, but it's like, bro, you're like 6'10". You're not hiding from anybody.
You're the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. Good little nostalgia trip. That's the fun thing about doing vintage clothing and cards is everybody has a story about what they want, why they collect it, and there was some moment like, you know, your dad meeting like Hogan or you going to WrestleMania that it solidified it for you.
Yeah. And you know, I wanted to ask you on that topic. When does nostalgia become a bad thing? Like from your experience? Because I've noticed for me, if I live too much in the past, then it's good at first, but then I just get really depressed. It's almost like when I binge watch my favorite shows, you get so disconnected from reality, which is sometimes what I want to do, you know, but you get so disconnected from reality that you kind of get depressed. And I feel like nostalgia does that too. It's like, it's a dangerous drug. I don't know.
It's a drug. It's like anything that you use as an escape, entertainment, sports, working out. You can't overdo it, and you just need to use it in moderation. That's it. If you find that it's taking over or cutting into like important parts of your life and you're reprioritizing for something that has already happened and doesn't really matter to your family and what's happening now and in the future, then that's when you know you need to like relax, take a step back. Moderation. That's it.
Kind of just like anything in life. Moderation.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's
unless you're listening to this show and then listen to all of them back to back to back to back.
Don't do that.
You will hate us by episode 2.5.
Yeah, that's like almost a full day. That's I would think more than a full day's worth of us talking. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even listen to that.
This is episode 21. Let's just say they're all an hour. You know? That's kind of crazy. I never thought about it that way.
It's almost a day worth of programming.
Wow. Right here on Hangin' with Homie.
We've done it.
It's kind of cool.
Reaching milestones every week.
Every week, man. Well, look, I feel a lot better now. I feel like I could talk and talk and talk, but yeah. I don't know if it was just a mixture of the flea market and the bad food and the this or the that, but dude, I feel like $1 million right now.
There you go. Opposite of the Sunday scaries, dude. Just change up your diet and you'll be good to go.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, you know, I get paid again coming up here soon, and I shouldn't be having these problems, but this is when nostalgia becomes a problem.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I'm fortunate enough to be able to handle all these big bills that come in, whether it's medical for my back or dermatologist or, you know, mechanical for the car or the trip to Maine. Like, I'm so lucky to be able to do that. But that's when it should stop, because then you're cutting into your weekly expenses for your food and for your, you know, your water and your whatever else. But that kick, that nostalgia kick, that thrill of the hunt, it's so addicting. And I have such an addictive personality, which is why this weekend, is the first time I've actually gone out on the hunt in 2 weeks. I really slowed everything down because, bro, I got to a point when I first got into this last month and a half ago, I was hitting random Targets and specialty shops after work 5 days a week.
Damn. That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Teach me your ways to not go overboard, because with anything I do, I go so hard at it, and then it gets to a certain point, and then my interest just plummets, gone, and I have to find something else.
Yeah, it's hard because, you know, I want people like you to come in and buy stuff, but also I do it because it's now my full-time work. It's my career. So like I was telling my dad today, I went to the flea market because it's my job and I need to go get deals.
Yeah. I love it, man. Well, look, dude, I'll tell you what I'm liking about these Sunday recording sessions, especially as we get into summer here, is we still have our whole day to work, to, toy hunt in moderation. I took most of yesterday and I cut a ton of short clips for us, and some of them are just banging. I put a lot of effort into them, and I like how we can then at the end of Sunday, before we go back to life, back to reality, we can hop on here. It's almost 9 p.m. for me. It's about 11 o'clock for you. So I just really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everybody listening. For Dave, my name is JR. Thank you so much for listening to Hangin' with Homie. We'll catch you next week. And remember, it's cool to be you. Peace.
Peace.